I'm going to introduce the topic of variables. Okay? Variables are an important topic, so I really want to make sure to get you started on the right track with variables. Okay? So let me start by defining what variables are. Variables are symbols that represent unknown quantities. Have you ever written something on a piece of paper and maybe there was some quantity that you didn't know, like someone's name or someone's age or how much money you had in the bank, and perhaps you maybe use the question mark to represent that unknown quantity? Okay, you were using a variable when you did that. You might not have called it a variable, but you were using a symbol to represent an unknown quantity, right? Okay, so one big reason why symbols to represent unknown quantities are useful is the following. Variables allow one to rewrite questions in more compact forms. All right, so sometimes we can make an equivalent question that's a lot easier to work with. All right, so would you please now try to answer this question. What is the number I am thinking of if when I double that number and add 1, I get the value of 9? Okay, so pause the video now if you like and see if you can answer that question. All right, so what is the number I am thinking of if when I double that number and add 1, I get the value of 9? Now, I'll tell you the answer. The answer is 4, and if you were able to determine that on your own, then that's great. Would you agree that there's a lot of words in that sentence? Okay? Now, you might like a lot of words, but sometimes they can get in the way. Watch this. Would you agree that what we're basically looking for is some mystery number such that if I multiply that number by 2, so 2 times question mark, where I'm using question mark to represent a mystery number, 2 times that question mark plus 1 is equal to 9. Okay? Now, can you see how much more compact that equation is compared to the sentence in English? So that's the power of variables. Now, if you didn't determine that the answer was 4 before, maybe if you would have written it in the equation form like I just did, maybe now you would have gotten it. Okay? So 2 times 4 plus 1, that's equal to 8 plus 1, and so that gives 9. All right? So that's why we use variables. Now, imagine if I asked you a question that went on for 5 lines, okay, or even worse, a paragraph containing 10 lines. Now, I doubt you would like to try to remember all of that information in your head. Okay, you'd probably start summarizing it, right? Taking notes, jotting things on a piece of paper. Okay, what you're trying to do again is you're trying to make a compact version of the original question. Okay, and so that's what variables can help with. Now, let me make a comment about choices of symbols to use for variables. I've been using a question mark, and you maybe have used that previously. Now, mathematicians traditionally have used single letters to represent variables. You don't have to. I'm just telling you what people have done traditionally. Also, people traditionally use X and Y often. Okay, again, that's not a requirement. So the original blue question, if we were using the letter X to represent the original question, I could have rewritten it as follows. 2x plus 1 equals 9. All right? Now, just to make the point clear, if you really love happy faces, you could have done this. 2 times happy face plus 1 equals 9. So the symbol doesn't matter. All right? It's irrelevant what you choose for your unknown quantity symbol. Okay, so why don't I write some equations using single letters for variables, and let's see if just by staring at it and thinking really hard you can determine what the unknown quantity is. So x plus 1 equals 7. X over 3 equals 10. 2x plus 2 equals 8. So pause the video and see how many of those you can solve. And by solving, I mean you find what the mystery quantity labeled x is. Okay, so I'll go ahead and tell you what all the mystery quantities are. So for the first one, 6 will work, because if I add 1 to 6, I get 7, right? For the second equation, 30 will work, because if you divide 30 by 3, you get 10, right? And then the last one was probably the trickiest. That one, the answer is 3. If you double 3, you get 6. If you add 2 to 6, you get 8. Okay? Now, I'll give you a few more chances to try to get some of these mystery quantities determined or correct. So, would you please try to solve for these? And I'm going to use other single letters besides X, just so you get some experience with that. So y plus 5 equals 20. H minus 4 equals 6. 3 times k equals 120. And u over 7 equals 6. So again, pause the video if you like and try to solve for as many of those unknown quantities as you can. Okay, I'll go ahead and tell you what the answers are. So for the first equation, y is equal to 15, because if you add 5 to 15, you certainly get 20. For the second one, h is equal to 10, because 10 minus 4 is equal to 6. For the third equation, k is equal to 40, because 3 times 40 is equal to 120. And for the last one, u is equal to 42, because 42 divided by 7 is equal to 6.